Hey friendos, Larson here.
Also Cal.
And welcome to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. This, of course, Matt Chat. It's a Sunday. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July. I hope we had a good 4th of July.
Had a great 4th of July.
I'm really looking forward to this. Cal's been filling in for Steve all week. He'll do the same all next week. This is his first episode of Matt Chat.
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to have a hard time trying to win any debates because you actually know what you're talking about.
I know a little bit. It's up to the viewers who thinks wins and losses. These are just my own questions. Some from personal experience and some just, I don't know. Got to think of an answer. So this will be interesting.
This will be interesting. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want to be on Matt Chat, you can contribute to our Patreon at the $20 a month level. Even just one contribution can get you 4, maybe 5 Matt Chat questions throughout the month, depending on how many weeks are in the month. You also get the Friendo Care package. You get a comic book, a story. The story inside could only be told within the pages of a comic book. It would cost an astronomical sum to ever make that into a major motion picture, TV miniseries, even a stage production. Cost prohibitive completely. You get a poster, some stickers, a postcard with our names on it. It's a quality value. You get all sorts of other stuff, ad-free episodes, bonus content. So consider it, especially if you want to be in this show, because that's the only way you could do it. That being said, let's kick things off. First question from Rich. Take it away, Rich.
Friendos, Rich the Smash Brother here with another epic Matt Chat question. A little bit of a two-parter. Given the positive feedback we saw this past Monday with Paul Heyman basically lighting Raw on fire instantly, do you think we're going to get the same result when Bischoff takes over in 2 weeks after Extreme Rules? And do you think with their past creative abilities and the stories they've been able to tell and the impact they've had on the business, do you believe that both Heyman and Bischoff can have a positive influence on the product and on the ratings to get things back to a more exciting, unpredictable state? I personally think they can. I've watched wrestling for years. I watched during the Monday Night Wars, before, after, during. They're both incredibly creative guys. I just hope they still have the magic. But nonetheless, welcome to Going In Raw, Cal. Let me know.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Rich.
Would you like to go first, Cal?
Yeah. So, Rich was pretty much asking, will Bischoff's SmackDown debut be as impactful as Heyman's? Can Bischoff and Heyman change the fortunes of WWE? Well, here's my answer.
Yes.
Yes, they can.
Wow.
And here's why. These guys, they've been around. They know a little bit. They have all these creative ideas and whatnot. You know what? Here's the thing, Vince. Let's not forget, he has that XFL. He's selling stock left and right to put money in that thing. He just got time to worry about SmackDown and Raw. He needs to go worry about that XFL. He needs to fix football. He doesn't need to fix wrestling. That's what Vince needs to go do.
No, he's the problem with wrestling right now.
Exactly. He's the problem. He can't fix it. What's already broken. Can't fix it.
No.
That didn't even make any sense. Doesn't matter. He's going to go focus on the XFL someday soon, probably after when SmackDown goes to Fox.
Maybe, because I think with the XFL's kicking off, pun intended, right after the Super Bowl next year, I think.
Oh, it's perfect timing.
I kind of feel like the XFL is going to have a similar fate as the Association of American Football. They may not have the financial issues that league had in terms of getting their funding, but they will have financial issues because no one cares about football unless the letters NFL are associated with it on a professional level. History has borne that out. Every other professional football league that's tried to come into existence in this country of ours has ultimately failed because it's not the NFL.
Well, here's the thing. This is my rebuttal to you. There's an X in it. And anything with an X makes it cool because it's extreme.
It does make it cool.
And it has 2 of the other letters, FL, Football League. So now that you have the XFL, yeah, it failed once, but doesn't mean history will repeat itself. It'll be successful.
Okay.
And football these days, no one's watching it anyway. It's getting boring. They're trying to do all this mumbo. We need excitement. That's what the X stands for, exciting and extreme.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your enthusiasm.
There you go.
But Bischoff, by all indications, he's going to get started following Extreme Rules on a full-time basis. I'm guessing the weeks in between, it's all about getting him up to speed. I don't believe he follows the product closely, so he probably needs to be refreshed, educated on all the storylines that's happening on SmackDown and actually in all WWE right now because there's so much crossover between shows. So once he gets up to speed, a lot of it depends long-term, and this applies to Paul as well. At which point is Vince going to get concerned, bored, or just feel like he needs to get his fingers involved in things? Because once that moment happens, then whether Heyman or Bischoff have any great ideas is going to be irrelevant, because Vince is going to get involved and start messing with everything. And if that happens, there's a decent chance we'll end up right back to where we were a couple months ago. There's a chance that Heyman and or Bischoff decide, I can't get any of my ideas out there. To hell with this. Bischoff, I'm going back to my ranch in Montana and just doing my podcast and reading Blue Chew ads. Heyman, he's got his own company. He's got all the leverage in the world. He doesn't need to deal with this unless he just really enjoys it. But if he's got Vince on him all the time, taking all his ideas and watering them down and making them bogus, like, why does he need that? He doesn't need it. So in my mind, it all depends on how much control Vince is willing to abdicate to Heyman and Bischoff. If he's cool kind of being the general overseer of creative and letting them have a certain level of autonomy, it's not going to be absolute, but a certain level, the possibilities there for some good stuff. I'm a little more, again, I need to look at my Wall Street terms, bearish or bullish, whatever one's pessimistic. On Bischoff, his track record isn't quite as good as Heyman's. But by all indications, he seems to have learned from his mistakes. At least he says so.
Just like Vince has learned from the XFL from his mistakes. Boom, there you go. That's the answer.
You're really
XFL. And ironically, Extreme Rules is coming up. There's an X in there too. There you go. It's foreshadowing.
I didn't know you were this excited about the XFL.
Foreshadowing. Yes, kinda.
Kinda. Do you watch professional football?
No, I don't.
Okay. But you might now with the XFL.
I know with the XFL.
Did you watch the XFL in its initial incarnation?
No.
I watched like a week and a half of
some
garbage.
I watched maybe the first game.
Yeah.
That was it. But you know what? I will watch the first, second, maybe the third game.
I might give
maybe
it a try.
The third game for the XFL.
I might give it a try. We'll see. I don't know. I'll see. But the fortunes of WWE all rest on Vince McMahon, whether he decides he wants to be involved going forward, or if he's willing to take a step back. If he's willing to take a step back, then anything can happen. But he loves himself some control too much, I feel like, just to take a back seat for too long. I meant in the newsletter, Wrestling Observer newsletter this week, Meltzer was talking about how there's a period, I think in the mid-'90s, where Vince hired Bill Watts to kind of take over creative. And I think he lasted 3 weeks before Vince overrode one of his decisions. He was like, the hell with it.
He's like, I'm done. This isn't worth my time.
Yeah. Because I guess, if I remember correctly, Bill Watts wanted to make Brett top guy. But by that point, Vince already decided he wanted Shawn Michaels to have the belt. And I guess that was enough. But Bill Watts said, to hell with this, I'm gone.
That's funny.
I wonder if he was going to take the mats off from the ringside area like he did in WCW, too.
Ooh.
Seemed like a terrible idea. Back then, going to the top rope in WCW, that was an instant DQ.
Really?
Yeah.
Even in a regular match?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I remember that.
Like in the early 90s.
Okay.
Because we were doing
if they could never implement that now.
No.
There's no way, because half the guys go over the top rope.
Yeah, on a regular basis.
I'm going to get you. Oh, you pulled down the top rope. I fall out.
Yeah. I win now.
Yay.
But it was, remember we were watching some old pay-per-view for Going in Raw View or something, and that happened. They called a match. And I'm like, what the hell? That was actually a thing?
That was, yeah.
And that was a thing, I guess, for a long time at WCW, but not
funny.
WWE. That's why WWE won. Next question from FreeChan64.
What's up, Matt Chat? It's FreeChan64, doing one of those Matt Chat things. Currently eating a corn dog. In Japan, they call it American dog, which is simultaneously hilarious and sad. Speaking of sad things, let's talk about main roster call-ups. Who are you most afraid of getting called up? Who do you think currently in NXT they are most likely to bungle? So, I don't know what I'm doing.
Thank you, FreeChan.
Thank you, FreeChan.
That's a good-looking corn dog.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
It's huge.
Did he think he went and bought that? He didn't deep fry that one himself.
I would suspect you'd have to buy that. I don't know. That'd be impossible to deep fry unless you're a corn dog expert.
But that's the thing. What kind of hot dog's under that thing? Because it looked pretty.
It was bulbous.
It's like this. Like
yeah,
this microphone.
yeah. Have you ever tried to make homemade corn dogs? It's not easy.
No, I wouldn't want to try because then you have to make the breading and all that.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I tried once and all the breading just came off into the oil.
Oh, it's pain. That sucks.
Yeah, it was. I was really looking forward to it. I like corn dogs. Anyways, I think this is pretty straightforward. It's Velveteen Dream. Dude's immensely talented. In NXT, he's given the opportunity to show a depth of character that I don't know would be possible on main roster. I think it would be different. Like, say, Paul Heyman took a personal liking to Velveteen Dream and wanted to bring him up to Raw and really follow what NXT has done in terms of making him a multi-dimensional, layered character. Then I think he'll be fine. But whenever he gets called up, if Paul Heyman isn't in charge of Raw, if Bischoff just isn't in tune with his character, if Vince decides to take charge of his creative, it could go south really, really fast. Really fast. So it just all depends on how his creative is handled. I'm hopeful after what we saw with the Street Profits on Raw, we're going to see a lot more continuity between NXT and the main roster, something that's been really lacking for a long time. I'll go back to Bob Roode. Awesome heel in NXT. One of my favorite characters in NXT, maybe ever. And he gets called up to main, and he's just smiling guy. His character was his song, pretty much. And it's the power of Velveteen Dream is that he's got layers to him, and if you start making him one-dimensional, there's a chance for it to go real bad.
Yeah, I think that's, to me, that's the right answer. But when I was thinking of what to say, I figured some of the guys would be kind of too easy because they're so over now. But for me, someone who just kind of break into the scene, not really, but I said Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, his personality is so defined that himself on his own is a character. Mm-hmm. Some people can kind of get that misconstrued where they think, oh, that's just a facade. No, Matt Riddle is just Matt Riddle. That's how he's always been. The way he talks, the way he walks, that's who he is. But if someone gets the wrong idea about who Matt Riddle is, they're going to try to write, because this is you, like what Vince is saying to Dean Ambrose.
Such good
shit. This is who you are. What's the impression someone's going to get of Matt Riddle? He's a laid-back surfer dude, even though he's from New York and he lives in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Anyway, that to me says that he could go one or two ways. They could find someone that can relate to him. They could write something for him, and he can connect with the crowd. And he does have tons of natural charisma. Mm-hmm. But someone could just feed him line. I don't know how well Matt Riddle can do when someone feeds him lines and tell him, this is how you have to talk. This is how we want you to do things. That kind of goes against everything that is Matt Riddle. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if a writer can't write for you, you can't wrestle. So if you don't have anyone writing, you're not wrestling. So if Matt Riddle doesn't get along with the writers or the creative, we may not even see him on TV at all. And that could be a huge botch if he got called up.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought process as far as like thinking, like Velveteen Dream, who he went on Instagram and he talked about how certain guys were able to get ahead of creative for certain reasons. Kind of a pretty immature statement.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if he get called to main roster and see if that actually
if that holds up.
Was the case.
If that's the case,
I know it was a not the smartest move on his part to lay the blame on talent for creative failings. But how about this? Here's a way you get around the Matt Riddle thing. You don't even bring him up as original bro. You bring him up as the Quiz Master.
The Quiz Master.
Matt
because
Riddle.
He's the Riddle.
Yes.
They call him the Riddler.
So he comes out in a suit, and he's got his cards.
Yeah.
And he has a promo. It's like, so I'll ask you this, John Cena. Answer this in the form of the question, please. Matt Riddle. And then John Cena be like, that's you. It's like, yeah, but the question is, who is going to beat John Cena at SummerSlam in 2 weeks?
That creative wise, that would be great. That would be actually interesting. That's another thing. Like Matt Riddle also got a little, and there's rumors and stuff. We don't know if it's true, but he got a little slack from calling out Goldberg in that beautiful Goldberg Taker match that happened.
Oh man.
Yeah, but anyway, Riddle kind of said what we were all thinking.
Yeah.
And, he got, from what we heard, he got not in trouble.
No, I've heard like differing things. I heard it once, like he wasn't exactly encouraged, but they weren't telling him not to do it.
Yeah.
So,
I
don't know.
Yeah, so who knows if he got any
Any heat for that?
Heat for that? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, but that's something I'm sure people on the main roster, they're going to be mindful of if he is going to go out there and call out some of their, WWE legends.
Yeah.
That's good or bad. I mean, at the end of the day, who's the WWE Hall of Famer?
Goldberg is.
So
That's
it's
right.
not smart to, make fun of the guys who've been there and done that. I don't know.
No, that's true.
It wasn't a smart idea.
No, but I wonder if he got heat beforehand, then after the match, we were like, all right, well, we'll let it go.
Yeah, that might be the case too.
We'll let it go. He's not, in this case, he wasn't terribly off base. Next, we got a question from Christopher Rampersad. Take it away, Christopher.
Hello, Larson and Jack. So my question is, next week, we have a busy weekend. We have Fight for the Fallen and Extreme Rules. Now, is this a current things we're going to get now at AEW and WWE that we have back-to-back pay-per-views? And how are we, the fans, are going to balance watching 2 pay-per-views? For next week, I feel like it's a lot. What are you guys going to do? I know you guys have, personal lives and stuff. How are you guys going to watch wrestling and have your own life and stuff? I feel like it's too much wrestling.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, Christopher.
Take it away, Cal.
How do you pretty much is asking how do you balance?
I guess so.
AEW
Especially when they got 2 pay-per-views going on the same weekend and stuff like that. 'Cause I think Fight for the Fallen's coming up, and of course WB has the Evolve 10th anniversary going head with that, and then we also got Extreme Rules around that same time. There's just a lot going on mid-July wrestling wise.
Yeah. Man, you just gotta. If I have time, I watch it all. But a lot of the weekends I have, I'm performing or do some kind of show in the area. So for me, I try to follow and see as much as I can. I mean, just have to balance out the two. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's definitely different for you and Steve because you guys have to watch everything.
Pretty much.
Me, I'm going to watch it all. I'm going to support it all because I have aspirations and dreams that maybe I might one day get signed by either company. That'd be cool. Mm-hmm. I'm an open book. Whatever, who wants me, cool. I'll watch whatever. I don't really – finding balance is easy for me. Yeah, nothing crazy.
For us, it is a situation, especially with All Elite and WB. They're going to be the top 2 promotions here in the States. We kind of have to just watch it all, which means there's going to be some weekends. Like for us, I'll speak myself personally. I don't mind watching it all. Because for no other reason, it benefits our bottom line when we cover it. But that is time away from family for us, especially when we come in here and have to live stream on the weekends, usually the time that we dedicate solely to the family. Thankfully, our wives are very understanding. When it comes to us having to come in here for work on Saturday or Sunday, they are generally cool with it. If it's a weekend where it's AEW on Saturday, WWE on Sunday, it might be a situation where, okay, we're going to work both those days. We'll take the Friday off before or the Monday after to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room because, in no way is this job difficult, and we love it. It's good. You got to have time for yourself, and you definitely got to have time for your family to maintain your sanity.
Yeah.
You can't just eat, breathe, and sleep pro wrestling all the time.
Unless you're a struggling independent pro wrestler and you just want to make it, and you got to take all these shows, you got to work your ass off, pay your dues, you got to climb that mountaintop, and make sure you find the opportunity to catch your lucky break.
I left myself open there, didn't I?
That's what you got to do.
It's true.
Eat, sleep, pro wrestling.
I guess I should say for me, who has no aspirations of ever stepping foot in that ring.
It's different.
As an observer.
Yeah.
Not the observer of wrestling, a observer.
The observer.
The balance is just finding at least one. For me, the balance is I need 3 hours a week to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I need an afternoon to not have to worry about anything work-wise.
Yeah.
If I can get that on a weekly basis, I can maintain a relatively decent work-life balance. I appreciate more time with the kids and the wife and stuff, but sometimes there's weeks where it's just really busy. So if I get that, I'm generally cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for a guy who's trying to do this business, you have to watch everything. You have to know everything because if you get signed by a company, like when I got signed, they expect you to know everything. They expect you to know who everyone is. Mm-hmm. It's like you have to know things because it shows a level of respect.
Yeah.
If you don't know anything when you get signed with these people, all the guys in the background take it as disrespectful, and it shows that you don't care for the business. Mm-hmm. So for me, I got to watch it all. I don't have to cover it like you guys do. You guys have to be a lot more thorough, but I have to at least have an idea of what's
Be paying
going
attention
on.
what's
Be
going
paying
on.
attention.
Yeah. When you went to the Performance Center or got signed, I know you said you weren't a huge wrestling fan, but I assume you'd watch some, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to kind of do a bit of a crash course before reporting?
It was recommended to me that I'd follow up on it, and that was by who recruited me, Jerry Briscoe.
Mm-hmm.
He told me kind of like study up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and also when you go for a tryout there, I don't know if they do this now, but when the tryout I had was at FCW in Tampa. They gave us a sheet, like they emailed us like information on all the coaches and the trainers that are going to be there. And I also went online and studied up who are the coaches, what are these coaches known for. So it's smart to have an idea of what's going on so that when you go there, you're just not you don't mean to be, but you might come off as a disrespectful jerk.
Yeah.
And that happens to a lot of guys. And then they have to explain their case. Well, I didn't know. I wasn't, it's like, well, that you should know. And what's funny is we talk about Velveteen Dream. He, on Tough Enough, he jumped down that one kid's throat because that one kid knew nothing about pro wrestling. And Velveteen Dream's like, why would you want to do something? We don't know anything about it. And so I'm taking the same approach as Dream did on Tough Enough. That's exactly the case.
Yeah.
So either companies, you got to balance it out. You got to at least know something. So AEW, WWE, I got to follow both.
Yeah.
Got to be a fan of both.
Totally. And even while we predominantly just cover WWE, now All Elite, some New Japan, we pay attention. Like when Ring of Honor has a show, I'll read the results, or not so much Impact, but Ring of Honor for sure. We try to just keep up with the major story beats, and then whenever there's news, regardless of promotion, that seems even just worth staying up to date on, we definitely do that. Next, got a question from Renegade Soul.
Good morning, Cal, Jack, and Larson. This is Renegade Soul here, and I'm just chilling out in the shade here because, man, it's going to be a really hot summer for pro wrestling, isn't it? So just in my area alone, the Seattle promotions that we have, Without a Cause is going to have at least one show. Defy is going to have 3 shows, including Bad Boy Tamatonga showing up in our area, so that's going to be fun. Project 42 is coming back, and there might be another event on the horizon. So my question to you guys is, what event or what promotion are you looking most forward to during the summer? It is definitely a very, very hotbed for wrestling. Looking forward to hearing what you think. Too sweet. Hearty handshake. Rock on. Peace out. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Renegade Soul.
Thank you, Renegade Soul.
It's going to be an interesting summer for pro wrestling, not just in the independent ranks. You got WWE try to right the ship. You got Heyman and Bischoff now seemingly in charge. That's going to generate buzz. See if that plays out on television with a different product. You got All Elite launching, doing their thing, ending the summer with All Out, leading to their TV deal in October. But for me, if we're just concentrating on the summer, when I think of summer wrestling, I think of one company, one promotion. That's New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that's the G1 Climax Tournament. The field this year, absolutely stacked. Top to bottom.
Yeah.
Stacked. It's hard to pick a winner because it's so damn stacked. But it's probably going to be Naito or Bushi. Probably Naito. Anyways, that whole thing is going to be awesome. They're kicking it off here. They kicked it off yesterday on the 6th. Yep. And it's going to be great. Every year I walk in the G1 saying, I know I can't watch it all. Yeah. Because there's a ton of wrestling. But I'm going to at least pay attention to what people are saying are the best matches and at least watch those. And last year we were spending like all our off hours, not all our off hours, we were done doing shows. We'd go back there, we'd pack some merch to ship, and we'd put some G1 on. And we did that for like a week. But it's so much. It's so much to stay on top of, which is the only problem. So I'm looking forward to G1. It's gonna be fantastic because the lineup is stacked. It's just such a huge time commitment when you already got to watch WWE, all their stuff. You get All Elite around the corner. There's just a lot to pay attention to. Again, it's the balance thing. You just gotta find the time. Yeah. When you have a couple spare hours, if you got a couple spare hours, go through, see what people are saying about the top tier matches. At least watch those. Yeah. But I can't wait for it, especially with Mox in there. It's gonna be something else.
That'll be really exciting to see how well he does, especially balance out All Elite and him doing that at the same time. Very cool. What promotions am I looking forward to this summer?
Yeah.
I have a list of promotions, and since we're on the West Coast,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stick with the promotions that I know. Yeah, New Japan, but they're not even a promotion. They're not even indie. They're its own company. You have to sign a contract to go there. That's a big deal.
That is a huge deal.
All right, they're not an indie promotion.
No.
I'm talking about Defy, like he said in Seattle. That company's growing. The talent there is getting better and better. Those kids, like Darby Allin was one of the first guys to come out Defy. Swerve, Shane Strickland, he came at Defy. Those are two top tier talents, and they're both making it with All Elite and now NXT. Who Swerve is going to be on? I think he might be on NXT tonight for the Breakout Star.
I think so.
So he's going to take on Cameron Grimes.
Yeah,
that's going to be an awesome.
Wednesday,
That was Wednesday. My bad.
No,
Yeah,
but
it was
Wednesday. We're shooting this Wednesday, so yeah.
But also PCW Ultra, they always seem to find really, really good talent to come into the show and their promotion. Like you see Fought 2 there with Warbeast. That's what they're called, the War Beast. Jacob's doing great stuff there. If you guys aren't familiar with Fought 2,
Oh, he's amazing.
you gotta look him up. He's awesome, and they have a ton of other really, really good superstars. Like Douglas James is great, Hammerstone's great, Jake Atlas is amazing. I know Brody King would go to PCW Ultra. That's kind of how he got super well known, was that company. And then also, if we're going to the Bay Area, which is where I am from, we got King of Indies, which is that just happened this past Friday. That was really awesome. And then, of course, Hood Slam. If you guys aren't familiar with Hood Slam, I can't explain it. It's its own show. I love Hood Slam. I work for those guys a lot. They do great numbers at their house show every Friday. Every Friday is a Hood Slam show. And some of it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but regardless, you're going to have a great time at Hood Slam. And then also, like, All Pro Wrestling. That's, like, the bigger name shows here in the Bay Area. And then last one is Big Time Wrestling in
in Newark,
in Newark and Salinas. Those are all companies that those are the ones I'm excited for most for the summer, because a lot of those companies I work for. And if you friendos ever want to see me wrestle, just check out Hood Slam, All Pro Wrestling, and Big Time Wrestling. So those are my promotions that I'm personally excited for
There you
this
go.
summer.
First time we ever met Cal.
Yep, you guys met me at Big Time Wrestling.
Big Time Wrestling show when the Impact folks were there.
That's right.
That was fun. That was a good night.
That was really cool.
Next, we got a question from Jacksonville's. I can't do it like Zach Gibson and Steve can. Number one. Jacksonville's number one. Guion Halili. Take it away, Guion.
What's going on, friendos? This is Jacksonville's number one Matt Chatter, Guion Halili, back with another Matt Chat question. This week, I simply want to know, what is the cringiest storyline ever? And take out Katie Vick and, the obvious ones. Really reach down. One that pops into my head, the whole Kurt Angle versus Booker T, where Kurt Angle wanted to have sex with Booker T's wife. Ugh, super cringe. Let me know what you guys think. I can't wait to hear what you guys say. Too sweet, hearty handshake. Later, guys.
Thank you, Guion.
Thank you, Guion.
Go ahead, Cal.
As far as a memory that I can have that was pretty cringy, mine's Mae Young with Mark Henry. Their whole love angle was just... for me, it was cringy because I had to think about it a bit. Like, I just listened to Mark Henry talk on Stone Cold's podcast, and Stone Cold's listing off the list of accomplishments that he had as a power lifter, Olympic lifter, like the things that he did, like all the records that he put up when he was living in Texas, and he had national records, and I think maybe a few world records. He is an elite athlete. And we talk about like what stars are we kind of worried that are going to botch up creative. I mean, to me, you put Mark Henry, this elite badass strongman, and you have him in a love angle with Mae Young. That to me just is like, they didn't get everything right in the Attitude Era.
No, that's for damn sure.
And this is one angle to me, even as a kid.
It was a head scratcher.
As a kid, I thought it was so weird.
Well, I mean, it's not so much. I think the payoff for it was what really made it weird.
Yeah.
Where she gives birth to a hand.
She gave birth to a hand.
It's just confusing.
And I remember listening to, I was listening to Something to Wrestle With, and just hearing them talk about like how that went down. And then also I kind of cringed because I saw Jerry Briscoe in there too.
Oh yeah.
And Jerry was the one that recruited me to go sign with WWE and NXT. So then to me, it's just like, man, I know people in this segment. I've met Mark Henry a bunch of times. He's a guy that gives more advice than anybody when I was in the Performance Center. He loves to talk. He loves to share advice. He never, ever once brought up this angle and talked about it. So personally with me, just from my own standpoint, the Mae Young Mark Henry ended this old poor woman giving birth to a hand. I mean, that to me is really cringy.
It's just, especially with the payoff in mind, that's kind of, and Mark Henry's fantastic. He's immensely talented in the ring. He's charismatic as all hell.
Yeah.
As one of my favorite segments is his fake retirement speech.
And that's the thing, he talked about that on Stone Cold's podcast when he told Stone Cold, like, Vince said to him, how about, you still have a lot more in the tank. How about you give your real retirement speech, and then we'll change gears after that.
Yeah.
And he actually that was his real retirement speech, what he was going to say and how he was going to say it. But that's the thing in wrestling, you got to learn to switch gears when you got to. You got to learn to turn it up and turn it down at any point in time.
Yeah.
So even though it was his real speech, at the end of the day, in the back of his head, he knew that this was only leading to an angle with him and Cena. And to this day, that was one of the best,
one of the best swerves.
One of the best swerves ever.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was great.
I remember watching that live and marking out huge when he dropped Cena with that World's Strongest Slam.
Now, also, I remember at the Performance Center, he was working with Jason Jordan a lot because Jason Jordan was of similar size to John Cena.
Oh.
So while they were pitching ideas for that feud, Mark Henry was working with Jason Jordan a lot.
Interesting.
And that was a lot of great experience for Jason Jordan
Yeah.
to work with Mark Henry. So that's a little fun fact about that whole Mark Henry retirement speech bit.
For me, the cringiest storyline it wasn't salacious by any stretch. It wasn't, anything along those lines, but it was cringy because it was awful. And a general rule of thumb for me is I really don't care for heel play-by-play commentators, and especially when they're a focus of a storyline and given a half-hour time slot at WrestleMania. The Michael Cole heel turn was one of the most hard-to-watch, downright embarrassing things I've seen in wrestling in a long time. That whole thing at WrestleMania, his match against Lawler.
Oh, it's pretty bad.
That went on forever.
Oh, my God.
Forever, and it had zero heat. No one cared. No one cared about it. No one cared. No one cared to see Michael Cole get beat up because no one cared about that he was a heel.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I want to see you get beat up heat. It was like, dear God, end this, please, heat. Get out of here with this. I don't want to see it. And then was the next night on Raw, John Cena humiliates him and pours barbecue sauce all over.
Oh, my God.
It was just awful.
That's just bad.
And it was around this, because I was really into wrestling in the Attitude Era and kind of phased out in the early aughts. And I'd keep track of what was going on, but I didn't really watch a ton until maybe 2011.
Yeah.
And then I went over to Steve's to watch that particular WrestleMania. And how that WrestleMania didn't turn me off wrestling forever, I don't know. Between that and the Miz Cena main event, it could have very easily been the final straw as far as me as a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
However, for whatever reason, I started watching after that. It's an odd thing.
That's awesome.
But I think because of the particular phase of my life where I was getting back into wrestling, this particular storyline, I have very vivid memories of it, and very vivid memories of it being awful.
Yeah.
And every time they would push the idea that Michael Cole is some conniving, cowardly heel,
yeah,
I had to start grinding my teeth.
Yeah.
Because it's so frustrating and it's so bad.
Yeah, that's
bad.
Yeah.
Came to the ring in his singlet and his headgear.
Oh, that's pretty, yeah.
Like we're supposed to take him seriously. But then like two years ago, Michael Cole was jacked.
Yeah.
Now, if he had gotten jacked for his Mania match, maybe I would find
Be
it
a
more
little bit
believable.
He did lean out quite a bit since then. Well, now he's put on his way back on.
Yeah.
But there was a point where I remember he would go to the Performance Center and work out quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, yeah, he had his little bit of a health kick for a minute. And then, sure enough,
Old habits, huh?
old habits come back.
I remember there was a picture of him online where he's flexing. I'm like, man, that's not bad, Michael
Yeah.
Cole. You're pretty jacked.
Yeah.
But no, Cole heel turn. That's to this day that thing about the storyline and just next, Stephen M.
Hey Larson, hey Kels.
just back from MMA training, so that's why I'm wearing a Punisher rash guard. But my question for you guys this week is top 5 wrestlers, dead or alive, that you'd like to grab a beer or smoke with. Mine would be Taker, because he's my favourite of all time. Finn, because he's fellow Irishman, he'd be a bit of crack. Michaels, because he'd have the wildest stories and he's just a madman. Flair, because it's legendary drinking and his stories. And Andre, because of course I just want to see Andre drink and put away these massive amounts of drink. So Too Sweet, Hardy Handshake, Shoulder Lean.
Thank you, Stephen M.
Thank you, Stephen M.
Beer. I like beer.
I like beer too. I'm fancy. I like to have a good IPA.
Yeah. You're a fan of the Belgian beers?
I've had a few. I can't list any off the top of my head, but
Okay.
if I go to like a wine or spirits or something, they usually have some craft beer there. I might might get a Belgian ale or something like that.
Okay. Well, if I have time this weekend, I'll grab some Belgian beer for you to try.
That'd be cool. Yeah, why not?
I know you're doing the keto thing, so it's gonna be a while, but
It'll be a bit. Maybe after October when
There
I'm
you
done
go.
with my 90-day keto.
yeah, when you're done with your 90-day, we can have a beer tasting
Oh,
extravaganza.
that'd be awesome.
There we go.
We should.
Anyways, Cal, who would you like to sit down, shoot the shit, have a beer or two with?
I'm going off of one. Most of my answers are all personal experiences, and the other one is just pretty obvious. Samoa Joe, I know he likes to travel between shows and check out breweries and see what kind of ales they have. Joe knows a lot about beer, and that would be fun to go beer testing with him at a brewery. Stone Cold, because he has his own beer and he loves drinking IPAs, and he has his own beer. He has his own IPA, which, to be fair, it's okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's okay. It's not the best IPA. I know he puts it over like it's the greatest IPA on the planet.
What do you think is the greatest IPA? Or your personal favorite? 'Cause it's all
Personal
subjective.
favorite? Oh, that's a good question. There was I like it. Sometimes I get crazy and get like a double IPA because they're a little bit more heavy. My favorite one, I guess I would go to. There's a Drake's.
Oh, the Denogonizer?
Yeah, that one's really
That
good.
one's really good,
I
yeah.
like the Drake's Denogonizer. And then I gotta think there's a couple off the top of my head I can't think of. I'm more like if I see it, I know exactly which one it is. But just whenever I go to a restaurant, the first thing I ask for, what kind of IPAs do you have? Yeah. And then they usually have their own, like they'll have a local one or they'll have one they brought in from somewhere else.
You ever had the Dogfish Head 90 minutes?
Yeah, I've had
That's
that
good
one.
stuff.
That one's really good. So yeah, Joe and Stone Cold, we would talk about craft breweries and just what kind of IPAs we want to drink, and then just go beer tasting with those guys. I also said Xavier Woods because Xavier Woods goes to barcades. He traveled. I don't know if he does that anymore, but I remember him talking about how he would tell fans and whatnot, if you want to hang out with him, go meet him at a barcade. And so that would be fun. Xavier's a really cool guy, so that'd be a lot of fun. If I was to grab a beer with and have another really good time, Mojo Raleigh. Mojo is so much fun to party with and hang out with. Grabbing a beer with him would be excellent. He's just a hilarious dude. And then also my last one's Dawkins, because he was one of my best buds in Orlando. We would go to the bars, grab a beer. He likes to. He's a Crown and Coke guy, but he'll chill and I'll have a beer and he'll have a nice Crown and Coke.
Yeah.
So definitely hang out with Dawkins as far as like grabbing a beer with, because that's who I would grab a beer with.
Yeah.
Easily.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'll go with Minoru Suzuki. I don't know if he drinks. I don't know if any of these people drink. Well, I know Cody does because I've seen him drink.
Yeah.
Minoru Suzuki just seems like an endlessly fascinating individual. He's lived a hell of a life.
Yeah.
Dude's got tons of stories. He's basically wrestled or fought everybody. He's been in a movie fighting giant monsters. I just want to hear about his life.
That would be awesome.
Speaking of Cody.
Yep.
I think he did a Q&A in being the elite drunk, or at least somewhat imbibed. So I know he drinks. Again, dude's got to have a wealth of stories. And to pick his brain about the business side of things, now that they got all lead up and going, that's going to be fascinating. Andrade Almas, again, stories.
Yeah.
He's wrestled all over the place in Mexico. He's been to Japan. He's friends with Rush and Tetsuya Naito. Wealth of stories. Bray Wyatt. I don't know if he drinks. He seemed like he's like a super creative guy.
Yeah.
And one of the things I find most fascinating about creative individuals is their creative process. And I'd really like to hear the creative process behind Firefly Funhouse. What inspired all the little details, this bit of a reinvention for himself. Finally, Booker T. One of my favorites ever. I love Booker T. Dude's got tons of stories. Actually, I'll say this: Booker T and Stevie Ray. Have you heard Stevie Ray shoot interview?
Oh yeah.
He is a great damn storyteller.
Yeah.
Amazing storyteller. Get Booker T, Stevie Ray together, having a beer or two, talking, hearing their stories. That would be an absolute blast.
Okay, well, if you're gonna add Stevie Ray because he's his brother, I'm gonna add. I'll put Montez Ford there with Dawkins because I had hung out with them at the same time.
Uh-huh.
They are awesome together. Montez is a character, so I'm gonna include him with Dawkins.
Fair enough.
As
Fair
well.
enough.
And then probably the other New Day members with Woods, because they're always hanging out with each other. But I think Samoa Joe would be fun because, like you said, I mean, it's all these guys have stories. Everybody would have all these. Mojo wouldn't really have any stories, but he would be fun to hang out with.
Hell
the
yeah.
party. Yeah.
We got 3 text questions next. First from Luis Ariza. This one's for Cal. He says, Cal, don't answer if you don't want to, but have you ever had to shoot on someone or have been shot on? If so, what goes through your mind while it happens?
No one has ever tried to shoot on me, and nor have I ever tried to shoot on them. It depends on who I'm working with. A lot of the time when you work with somebody, you want to make sure you guys are cool and that you guys can get along. A lot of pro wrestling is how you get along with people. And if you can't get along, put together a match, well, that's just one match. Get through with it. Get done with it. You move on. Life goes on. It's just a match. So you want to make sure, and I was taught in the business by Steve Kern said this: if something bad ever happens, you just have to have a cool head about it and just move on. You don't want to let your emotions take over and feel like you have to dump somebody on their head or something. You know, like Perry Saturn did to some jobber. You don't want to do that. You just want to be cool, relax. Things happen. The only time I've ever really kind of like did a little shoot wrestling, if I'm working with somebody that has a shoot background. Like when I wrestled Jeff Cobb in a match at Big Time a couple years ago, we did a little shooting around a little bit just for fun.
But it was mutually agreed. It
was just playful, just spar wrestling pretty much. Same with I wrestled Tom Lawler. This actually will go into the Dynamite Martinez question. If you know how to do it, you can do it safely, but never out of emotion or anger. And if you have an opponent or somebody who does that, they don't last long in the business. If somebody, and here's the thing, you tell a wrestler, you tell everyone. Wrestlers don't keep secrets. So as far as like rumors and stuff, if I found out that this guy went in for the business for himself, it ain't gonna last long for him because this day in wrestling is about respect, trust, and if you can get along with everybody. If you can't get along with whoever comes around your promotion, they just won't book that person, and they'll never, ever come back again. And the boys have no problem sticking up for each other in that regard. So, no, thank God, never had to shoot anyone, and knock on wood, no one's ever tried to shoot on me.
Yeah. I mean, sitting next to you, you're a big dude.
I am. I'm a big guy.
And between that and your decorated background as an amateur wrestler, I would think that most people would be foolish to try to take advantage of you in the ring.
Yeah, it can't happen.
No.
It shouldn't happen.
No.
I would hope not.
And and you're right about it. I think more than anything now, it seems like wrestlers they want to work with people they can trust because everybody's putting their bodies on the line out there.
Yeah.
And if you don't trust the man or woman that's standing across from you in the ring, that's tough.
It's really hard. And to kind of harbor back to like my old developmental days, Bill DeMott told us this. Like a lot of the stuff when it comes, like when we'd ask him about psychology, what does it mean? Like, can you teach us wrestling psychology? And I think Bill was trying to go deeper with the question because his answer was like, what's the guy thinking? And we're like, no, we want like ring psychology. Like, what do you do in a match? But instead he kind of went off about like, well, what if that guy, he's getting complaints over here from his wife. And then he's also has his girlfriend on the other side of the match. She's mad at him. And now you got to find a way to put together a match. That's psychology.
He's like, no, we want to know how to like tell the story, man.
No, like how do you tell like a story in the like that kind of side? So that if there's ever a scenario like that where you have a guy who's got a bunch of people mad at him and then like his mind's in another place and he might do something to you out of frustration, that could happen. But, for the most part, wrestling's a business where you have to be. We shake everyone's hand. It's out of respect because you don't know when you'll see them or if you'll ever see them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the code. You shake everybody's hand. You just I hope it doesn't happen. I see cases of it happening all the time, and it just sucks, and it spoils everything. You know, that's something I would hate to have happen to me, and I hope it never does, and I hope it doesn't ever happen. It will happen again to some people, but it's a rough thing, and it's not cool when somebody goes in the business for themselves.
No, not at all.
No.
Next, Joshua the Dynamic Knight Martinez. He asked Cal, what's something you miss about living in Oregon, and was it a good feeling going back and doing a show in Corvallis?
The thing I love about Oregon is the people. The people there in Oregon are super nice. It's a very laid back area. I mean, on the West Coast, things go by fast here. Like in California, California Bay Area, Florida, all those areas are very fast paced. Oregon was a lot slower, a lot more laid back, and the people there are really, really damn nice. And it's a state of small towns. It's a big state filled with a bunch of small towns. So you have a little bit more isolation, and you're not around a bunch of people all the time unless you're like in Portland. But man, it's just a nice state. It's really pretty, very green, very lush. It rains there a lot, but when it's sunny, it's like a holiday. It's beautiful up there. And then the feeling going back and doing a wrestling show in Corvallis, it was great. A lot of what promoters will see is when they bring somebody in, can this person draw? Whenever I do shows in Oregon, I always have a good amount of people that come watch because that's where I went to college. That's where I had a lot of success, was at Oregon State. I was an All-American. I won Pac-12s twice. I had a bit of a following in Oregon. I was debating on living in Oregon or California when I left NXT in 2016. So to me, it's like, well, what's the next step? And I figured just go because I grew up in California. I live here. And I'm glad I did that too because that's where I met Steven Larson, and that's where I kind of re-found myself as a pro wrestler. But, I mean, man, I love Oregon to death. I'm doing a show there October 13th. I forget what the promotion's called, but I'm taking on Hammerstone, and that'll be a fun match. And just the Pacific Northwest in general, it's a great area. And, you know, I miss it. I can't wait to go back up there. My sister lives in Seattle, so I want to see her pretty soon. I have a show coming up there, I think in November. So, yeah, Corvallis, it's a good little town. It's where I went to college at. And I had a really fun match with Filthy Tom Lawler in Corvallis. I even got my college coach involved.
I
had my college coach involved. And I even had a kid I coached in high school get involved in the match too. So
that's cool.
It was great. Were you there? I wonder if Joshua was there. If you were there, bud, you got to say hi to me.
Yeah, I think he's from Portland area.
Yeah, there'll be that show October 13th will be in Eugene.
Okay.
And then there's always the DOA promotion does really well. They're at the Harvey's Comedy Club, and like Defy, they do a lot of stuff in Portland and Seattle. So, yeah, anyone in the Pacific Northwest, go out and support your indie scene up there.
Definitely.
And the Bay Area too.
It's flourishing up there.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting better and better.
That it is. Final text question from the Howley Doodley champion. He says, this week's question comes from the cheese and broccoli monster and edited to by Hafty. You find yourself in the Jaws universe. I'm assuming Jaws 1. And you have to build a team to kill the shark. Which wrestlers would you pick to be the captain, the cop, the marine biologist, and who is the shark? Bonus points for casting someone to play the boat. At first, I just remembered they had to do a shark, but my marine biologist answer works for shark too. Would you like to go first?
Okay. Yeah, I'll go first. So, and I just realized who I'd want for my shark.
Okay, good.
So my captain would be Kairi Sane because she's as JR would say, she's a yachtsman or a yachts person.
She enjoys her nautical pursuits.
Yeah, so I'd go with Kairi Sane because she actually knows her way around the boat. So if I ever had to go sailing, I'd have her sail me around, and it would be magical. Cop would be Mustafa Ali because he is a cop.
Yep.
He is a cop in Chicago, or I think Chicago. Is it?
It was Chicago. Yeah,
Chicago. He has to. I'm sure he's dealt with some of the toughest situations. So, yeah, I would totally go with Mustafa Ali. Marine biologist. this is gonna be kind of funny. If you guys follow Impact now and you remember the OG original member of Sanity, it's Sawyer Fulton, Madman Fulton. He actually used to work at SeaWorld. So he knows a little bit about marine biology. His ex-girlfriend used to work there too. So that's my choice. And then also, as far as a boat goes, I'm going to say my boat takes on the work ethic, the personality, and the competitiveness as Neville. The reason why I said Neville is because Neville used to race Sami Zayn in the pool at our apartment complex. And Neville would always beat Sami in the pool. It was hilarious. And I was always the judge back then. So I think Neville would make an excellent boat. It'd be great. And then the shark, I don't know why I just thought it was funny. I'd say Ryback.
Oh, that's good. You might just say feed me more.
Because the shark wouldn't stop eating and killing. So it's like, all right, well, either him or Otis Dozovic as the shark.
Yeah.
Because, if you're in the boat and all of a sudden you turn around and you hear a shark say, I'm coming!
And then you're going to say, we're going to need a bigger boat.
We're going to need a bigger boat because Otis is big. Yeah, I'm going to, not Ryback. I'm going to say Otis. Otis is the shark.
All right, you gave me the captain, and I appreciate this. Captain Brutus the Barber Beefcake. He's been known to enjoy, I guess, he's had his own mishaps, his own nautical pursuits. My cop would be someone who is a police officer currently, I think in Georgia somewhere, Bull Buchanan.
Yeah.
My marine biologist, I just looked this up. Wade Barrett has a degree in marine biology.
I know. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, it's not fair. But I like Fulton as my marine biologist.
That's great. When you said that was your answer, I laughed.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great answer. My shark boy.
Great.
And then my boat would be Tugboat Fred Ottman.
It says in the name right there.
Yeah, Tugboat.
Yeah, Tugboat.
So that's it. That's Matt Chat.
That was fun.
Thanks for joining us, Cal.
Yeah, I'm really glad. I look forward if I ever have to do this again. It was a lot of fun.
Next week.
Oh, yes. Next week we'll have new questions. Yeah, you guys, get on the Patreon. Ask me questions. I can answer all the questions in my own kind of whatever perspective way.
There we go.
Be a lot of fun.
We'll get a ton of questions next week.
That's awesome.
Anyways, thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys next week.
Bye.